Hey guys, so if you've been following my videos I've done, you obviously know I was doing a little review series of the Phantasm series, and so I've already reviewed the first movie, second movie, third movie, and fourth movie, and I was going to end the review series by reviewing the fifth movie. Well, I've finally seen the fifth movie, and and so I'm going to review that. So if you've seen my other reviews, you obviously know my opinions on all the other ones. I liked the first movie, I liked the second movie, I liked the third movie, but I didn't really care for the fourth movie though. But despite not caring for the fourth movie, the fourth movie ended on a cliffhanger that was left open for a fifth movie, and so I wanted to see a fifth movie for a while because I just didn't want this series to end on a bad note. And so, it's been quite a long time since a Phantasm movie was made. The last movie was made back in 1998. And so, for years, they've been planning out a fifth movie, but for some reason, it just kept getting delayed. But I was hearing that the reason why it was kept getting delayed was because they didn't have the budget. Like, they had, stories planned out for it, but they just couldn't afford to make it yet. But some people just kind of gave up on a fifth Phantasm movie after so much waiting. So I kind of did myself, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of did give up on waiting on another Phantasm movie, but little did we know, back in 2014, there was a trailer released for Phantasm Ravager, and so once that trailer was released, it was all confirmed by everyone that the movie was 100% filmed, and it was going to come out soon. But there was no release date for it when the trailer was released. So all of us were anticipating the release of the movie, but we don't know when and it was coming out. So all of us were keeping our eye out for the release date for quite a long time. So we saw a trailer in 2014, so we were keeping our eye out, but 2014 ended. So 2015 came, and we were all keeping our eye out for it. But there was no info on when it was coming out during that year at all. There was little updates here and there saying it's coming out soon, it's coming out soon, but there was no release date. But then 2015 ended, then 2016 came along. All of us were wondering, is it coming out? Is it coming out? When is it coming out? Then finally, during the middle of 2016, there was the release date that came out limited in theaters as well as also on videos on demand. But I didn't see it though in the theaters or on videos on demand. We didn't get it here for some reason. So I had to wait for it to come out on Blu-ray, which I have right here. So I've already seen this movie. And was this movie worth the wait for 2 years for it to come out? Well, I'm going to actually be a little honest. Judging from this, you probably are thinking I probably hate the movie. Well, I'm going to jump to conclusion on my opinion, then I'm going to get into it. Overall, I liked this movie, but I didn't love it though. So it wasn't 100% worth the wait, but it was at the same time though, so it was yes and no on that part. So unlike the other movies, this one was not directed by Don Coscarelli. Instead, it was only written and produced by Don Coscarelli, and it was directed by David Hartman. But we had Reggie Bannister reprise his role, Michael Baldwin reprise his role, Bill Thornberry reprise his role, and of course Angus Scrimm reprised his role for the last time. So he played the tall man for the last time in this because he passed away before this movie was released. So this was his final time playing the tall man in the Phantasm series, as well as also his final movie in general. So this movie, it doesn't 100% pick up right where the fourth movie ended. I mean, it picks up because the fourth movie ended with the tall man taking the sphere out of Mike's head and then going right to another dimension. Then Reggie goes after the tall man, goes right to another dimension to save Mike. And so it doesn't 100% pick up right there, right where the fourth movie ended. Instead, it picks up years later, and Reggie is going through those dimensions to save Mike. But at the same time, the tall man is sending all his spheres to kill Reggie. So Reggie's been basically being stalked by the tall man, as well as he's also going after the tall man to save Mike. Well, meanwhile, there's also this alternate universe of Reggie is like in this hospital. He's like he's an old man, and he's just suffering from dementia, while Mike is just visiting him all the time. Like Mike's telling Reggie that you've been like telling me all these stories about this tall man going to war with this man. So there's like, two different like dimensions while this movie's going on, like, and it's like keeps like cutting from back and forth, like the dimension of like Reggie going after the tall man to save Mike, and also this dimension of when Reggie's an old frail man and Mike is visiting him. So, and it's kind of a little confusing at times, like, and kind of in a way a little annoying, like, cutting back and forth throughout the movie. Excuse me. And so, but however, it's not really so much of a bad idea, because they actually mention that it's like, that there's several different dimensions in the movie. Like, Mike actually brings that up with Reggie in that alternate dimension. And like, and Angus Scrim, so like, he's not in it that much in this movie, but when he is, that's just really awesome. Like, seeing him as the tall man again, he gets some pretty cool dialogue, makes pretty good speeches. And also in that dimension where there's like this post-apocalyptic world that like the tall man's like taking over like the entire world, which I thought was a pretty good idea, because in the second movie and third movie, the tall man was like taking over these towns, but now he's like taking all over the entire world. Like, we see like these giant spheres in the sky taking out the cities, while then like when Reggie finally like finds Mike, like Mike says like, he's been looking for Reggie now, so like we see Mike like all dressed up as like a mercenary with these other new characters. Like, they've been hunting the tall man, like trying to survive out in that post-apocalyptic world. So like that was pretty cool. And so like that was basically like, just really the premise of this story. I mean, like the things that were good in this movie, like I really liked all the like the entire cast of the movie just came back, so it was really cool seeing all of them again. And as well as also, you can just tell that they were having fun, so that's like, a plus right there. But the effects were kind of like one of the weakest parts of this movie. Like, if you thought the effects in the fourth movie were pretty bad, this one's got some pretty bad effects too. But at the same time though, like, as I've said before, they were trying to like get a pretty big budget for this movie, but it just didn't really work out, so they like had to like film with like, a lower budget with this one. So I can understand they couldn't really afford the greatest of effects in this one due to its budget, so it suffered from the budget. So there was like, a lot of pretty cheap looking CGI effects. I wasn't really a fan that the spheres were CGI. I feel like they could have just did what they did in the other movies, have like, spheres floating around on wires. But what are you gonna do? However, despite there was like some bad CGI effects, there was some pretty good practical effects, like when the spheres go on like people's throats and their heads, like, drilling into their brains, all the blood squirting all over the place, just like in all the other movies. That was all practical. And they did like use some real locations, even though some locations were just CGI green screen effects. And like hearing the tall man say his famous line, "Boy," again, was just really cool. You get some pretty good performances from all the actors, and as I said, you can just tell they were having fun. So they all had fun with coming back almost 20 years later for one last time. But here's like that's like the big downfall in this one, is that everyone in this that was involved in this movie, the director, the producers, the writers, the actors, they all said that this was going to be the last one in the series. This was the fifth and final one, they all said. But it didn't really conclude the story though. I mean, like, it ended at a cliffhanger that's like open to interpretation, like as if they were planning to make a sixth movie. But they all said that they were planning for this one to be the last one ever since they started it. So like while they were in development for this one, they said this was going to be the last one. When they made it, they said this one was going to be the last one. So it was confirmed by every person that worked on this movie that this was going to be the final one. But because, like, you know, they left it open, now the series is gonna, like, end unfinished. So this needed to be finished. The story, I mean, it needed to be finished. Especially that we waited almost 20 years for this movie to come out. So, all in all, I liked this movie. I didn't love it, though. It wasn't, like, you know, a total letdown, but it wasn't the best one in the series. The first one, second one, third one were better, but I did like this one more than the fourth one. And even if you're a little disappointed with this movie, I feel we should all support this movie. Because this is the last one in the Phantasm series that's basically got nowhere to go now. They can't make another one without Angus Scrimm. Angus Scrimm is irreplaceable. He is the tall man. He is a legend. And he will not be forgotten. Rest in peace, Angus Scrimm. So, so we should all support this one. This is the last one in the series. This is the last time we'll, like, you know, see this one. I mean, the only thing they can do now is just remake the series, but I really hope they don't, though. This is a series that should just not be touched from this point on. So this was worth seeing. So I'm going to say that. So even if you're not, like, 100% a fan of this one, it was 100% worth seeing, just to, like, because it was just worth seeing, like, all of them come back for one last time. This is a movie that was made for the fans. And David Hartman, the director of this movie, you can just 100% tell that he made this movie with love for the critics. And I mean, not for the critics, for the series, sorry. For the critics. I know I made a little mistake there. So, you can just 100% tell that he made this with love for the series. He's a fan of the series. He made this for the fans. So, and I give him a pat on the back for that. So, I like this movie. I didn't love it. It was worth seeing. Not the best one in the series. And I think that's really all I gotta say. So, check this movie out if you're a fan of the series. And that's all I gotta say. Okay, take care.